All right, everybody, welcome into the Fantasy NFL Today podcast, a sports ethos production. I'm Anthony Quaranta, and you can find me at AQ Fresh. You can find Nathan at NateH714. You can follow all of our work at sportyethos.com. We've got our draft kit out. You can get 40 to 60% off of it. It's certainly a great deal. Today, we're going to be chopping it up, talking a little basketball, do a puppy draft here since it just came out yesterday. The streets are excited about it. Nathan, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Just soaking up football every day, man. We're getting one day closer. The Hall of Fame game is this month, if you can believe it. It's crazy. We're
Who's
getting
playing? Who's playing in the Hall of Fame game this year?
ooh, um, Lions and Chargers.
Oh, okay. That'll be interesting. Some real football. I know we've all been dying for it. It always feels like every year come the Hall of Fame game, like we get so hyped to watch football, and then like you immediately realize like, I still need to wait a little bit.
I'm just saying that the Isaac Tesla tape on at the end of the month is going to be great.
Oh yeah.
Getting to see some routes.
Yeah, I'm tacking them on to the end of my best ball drafts here. So let's kind of go ahead and get started here. Let's share the screen. Okay. What do you think of the pup or the underdog getting rid of the 30-second clocks?
That's interesting for sure. It was definitely my preferred choice just because sometimes on mobile, I got a slow phone. Sometimes I can click the notification to tab back to the draft, and the draft won't load in time to get the pick in. Sometimes with the 20-second clock.
I
Uh,
know, I hate that.
but other than that, I understand it, I guess. But
Yeah.
just got to be more attentive, I guess.
I was a big 30-second slow draft guy or fast draft guy myself, but that's okay. So we are at the 105. Let's see here. Okay. Very nice. Saquon Barkley's been falling to 5 and 6. I think I saw somebody post on Twitter that he's going at 7.
Yeah, someone got him at 7. I saw.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I don't think he should fall out of the top 5. I think he's probably solidly a top 4 pick.
Yeah, I think so. If you want to go any of Chase, Jefferson, or Bijan over him, I'm for it. But that's probably where I draw the line.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase, excuse me, is as clear 101 as you can possibly get. As his ADP is 1.1. Then it gets a little hairy, but I could see the argument for any of those guys over Saquon, but I'm probably not going to take CD Lamb or Jahmyr Gibbs over him.
Right, I agree. I will say I think I've mixed in CD Lamb sometimes, but Gibbs I'm taking him where he is, but I think I'd still want Barkley over him every time.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I like Gibbs in the top 6 at like 5 or 6. If the top 4 are gone, I'll kind of change between CD and Jahmyr Gibbs, just depending on how I'm feeling that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we just take Saquon. Speaking of falling to 5,
Yeah, why not?
all right, that's a good start. Let's pull up the board here. A little more enticing to look at this way. So what do you think about quarterbacks? I know that Josh Allen, I think, goes kind of around like the 2-3 turn. So does Lamar Jackson. Those are kind of the guys that start the quarterbacks. What do you think about going one of them at some point if we get there?
Yeah, 100%. I'm mixing them in the third round sometimes too. Just try to get unique with some of these game stacks when you get like Saquon early and then a receiver of your choice in the second, and then getting Josh Allen on the other side of that game in week 17 potentially. I think that's super interesting. Same thing goes with
Lamar Jackson. I'm
yeah,
assuming
and
you're thinking
Lamar
of
and
he goes right
Jacobs.
there. Yeah. All right. So after us, it was Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka, Christian McCaffrey. He's kind of risen a bit all summer. And then we got Nico Collins, Neighbors, Amon-Ra, Drake London at 12 to paired with Aston Jeanty. That's an interesting first round. I do like Drake London there at 12. I think that he is a very worthy first round pick.
Yeah, I agree. If you're looking at an offense to kind of sneakily make a jump, uh, with Michael Penix, if he can be an accurate thrower and push that ball down the field, this offense has the sky's its limit. They're already drafting a running back and a wide receiver in the first round in this draft, for instance. And it's kind of crazy that Michael Penix isn't getting drafted higher as a result, if you think of like how Detroit and Philly have guys.
Yeah, I'm really big on Michael Penix this year. I like taking him quite a bit. We've got 2 picks here until us, 1 really. What are we thinking here? I don't mind Rashee Rice. We can go RB heavy. What are you thinking? Who do you like here?
I don't hate Ladd here. I'm also big on getting 2 running backs early.
I do like Ladd here at 20. You want to go Ladd and see who comes around at 29?
Yeah, I think it's
running
a
backs.
good pair, and it's a little bit of a slide too. And with Barkley sliding, you're getting a bit of a unique correlation in the middle of the second or in the middle of the round.
Yeah, I always think that's interesting as well. If you get a guy that slides, or if you want to go ahead and like flip the board, I try to kind of stay around ADP for the first or the next couple rounds, because otherwise, like if you're reaching for guys, like what's the point of that value or flipping the board as far as being unique? Because at that point, you're just kind of drafting the guys you would have picked in that range anyway.
100%.
Okay, so the 2 running backs did go after us, Bucky Irving and Jonathan Taylor. There's still definitely a couple good options. I like Josh Jacobs, Chase Brown, who just actually went. You want to try to go running back here if Josh Jacobs is still there? I think that'd be a great pick.
Yeah, I like Jacobs as a great tier break, and he goes.
I know, right?
Not opposed to Trey McBride. I like going elite tight end from time to time. If I'm picking between the 2 Arizona guys, I'm taking Trey McBride to lead the team.
Yeah, I agree. I like JSN in this range. I don't love Terry McLaurin. I am absolutely okay with Trey McBride here if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I'm down.
Sometimes the easiest and the quote unquote sharpest thing to do, I think, is to just take the next man up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've got Saquon, Ladd, and Trey McBride. Like that's a really good start.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, not breaking any new ground here, but when you get what falls in your lap, sometimes that's a winning recipe.
Yeah. So Terry McLaurin goes. I think that's kind of Terry McLaurin's ceiling is where he's being drafted. So that's not something that I'm too interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Allen goes first quarterback off the board at 33. That's about his ADP. So that's interesting to go with Nico and Derrick Henry. That's a pretty good start. All guys that could finish as the number 1 overall at their position.
Yeah. Like 100. They're all bound to score. They could all score combined for 1,000 fantasy points this year, probably.
1,000
between Nico, Henry, and Allen.
You can get a lot of points out of them. That's for sure. I don't know about exact numbers.
Maybe a little too much for Nico to get 300. I'm out of
no, there's a world.
Yeah,
there's a world where they all score 300. Yeah, my math wasn't mathing in my head, but no, you're absolutely right. Lamar Jackson goes at 37. That's some nice value, I think. Since we were talking about the elite quarterbacks earlier.
Yeah, getting Lamar and Jaden in the 4th round feels so good. Sometimes even Jalen Hurts in the 5th, I like him a lot. Their new OC is the former passing game coordinator in Philly. Defense could take a hit. They might be playing, might have to put the foot on the gas a little bit more.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts has actually crept up to the back of the 4th round
Oh, yeah.
and goes
And
here in the
there he
middle
goes.
of the 4th round to pair with AJ Brown. That's fine. What are we thinking? We could go. We could go Amari and Hampton and create a little Charger stack. I don't hate that. What do you feel about? How do you feel about Tet, who just went off the board? Oddly enough. Okay.
I like Ted in this range.
We'll table that because we've got about 10 seconds here. What are you thinking here? What do you want to do?
I like the Hampton click here.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
Get a
do
nice
that.
Charger stack. Najee Harris news. Maybe you're getting more of a workhorse season out of Hampton out the gate.
Could take advantage of that. I think we were actually talking about that pre-show. So tell me a little bit about, because I haven't really seen anything. You said you saw something on Twitter. What did you see about Najee Harris?
There was like a random tweet from an unverified account on the 4th that came out saying that they saw Najee Harris hurt his eye with when a firework went off on the 4th. And I guess until today, it wasn't confirmed until a story broke by Jordan Schultz, I think. And in the article, they detailed that he had to go to a few different hospitals to get the eye checked out, which can't be good news at this stage in the offseason with training camp coming up.
No, that can't be great. Hopefully it's nothing. But if it is something, yeah, this might be the time to buy Omari and Hampton. So maybe a sneaky good pick on our part.
Yeah, I think there's like some mild pessimism around some of the guys like Brees Hall and Kyron that you could argue that Hampton might get brought up. He was going at the beginning of the 4th, I believe earlier in the offseason too, and he's slowly slid his way back into that next tier.
Yeah, he's a guy that's fallen a couple of spots here. I like Jaden Waddle a lot here at 53 would probably be my pick. What do you think here?
Yeah, I'm with it. I think this has to be the year, right?
Yeah, at some point it feels like it needs to be. They just traded Jonnu. Tyreek is, I mean, some people are down on him. I'm down on him. I haven't clicked his name at all. So I like Jalen. I like making the bet on Jalen Waddle then, since I'm fading Tyreek pretty hard.
Yeah, I like Waddle a lot this year. It would surprise nobody if he led the team in targets, had over 140, 150. If he could find his way to like a 10 touchdown season, you're looking at a smash pick, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I did notice that Joe Burrow went at the 4-5 turn, like back in the old days, as the team that is drafting first went Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown. I don't know about you, but I feel like just taking Joe Burrow there is the right pick if you're building that way. Because a lot of people will end up trying to snipe him before he gets back to the 6-7 turn. Sometimes you can get it, but I just feel like if you miss, it's just such a hard miss because you can't even go ahead and backstack Cardinals with it, because the two big ones, Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride, also go in that 2-3 turn where you took Higgins and Chase Brown. So I just feel like if you miss Joe Burrow, like it almost feels like a lost cause, and he provided that specific build so much more value than anybody you would get there would if you missed Joe Burrow.
Yeah, the way I've been treating it is if I'm ever taking 2 Bengals, I'm grabbing him at the 4-5. And if I have just one Bengal, I'm trying to push it to the 6-7.
Yeah, that's exactly how I play it as well. Let's see. One of the more interesting builds here, I think, so far is probably the 12 spot that went London, GT, Evans, Lamar Jackson, Ken Walker, and Jacoby Myers. That's a bit of a reach there. They're probably going to go with the Raiders stack as their secondary to Lamar Jackson. But I feel like it's tough to pick Lamar just because I don't really love his stacking options.
Yeah, you can kind of get them whenever you want, though. I guess is the art like you're paying up a little bit if you're drafting Lamar that early. Then you have to take more often than not. You have to take Zay as a an early fifth if you're trying to stack them that way. Doesn't always line up the best, but there are guys that you can click um, at different areas of the draft that you could add on, but it's hard
Yeah,
to love any of the individual targets, I guess.
right. So we're back on the clock now. This is a weird spot. Um, what are you thinking here? I like Jordan Addison. I like Chris Godwin as well.
Yeah, I like both. I'd probably go Addison.
Let's do it. I'm not. Oh, it went Godwin on us. I didn't get it switched in time. That's okay.
All good. We
Um,
get the Tampa Bay Miami Week 17 correlation there.
oh, I like that. I forgot about that. How do you feel about the Week 17 correlation? Are you big into it? Do you like try to do it for all of your drafts? Do you
It
like how do you play it?
I kind of just have it in the back of my mind as like a way to kind of maybe tip the scale if I'm like weighing two players um, kind of closely and I have with the pick coming up. But it is something that you know, you want to win it all, right? So you can't ignore it. Um, but at the same time, I'm not trying to sacrifice anything to make it happen. Not trying to force it.
Right. I largely agree. Sometimes I'll pay attention to it. I feel like it helps me diversify my exposures more than anything else. Uh,
Hmm.
so I kind of use it that way. I think I would like to try to go with a receiver here. I think it's a pretty nice pocket for them. Um, I like a few of these guys. What do you think? Because we've got two running backs, three receivers, and one tight end through 6 rounds.
Yeah, I love Pearsall here if we can get him.
Oh, you're
I think
speaking my
that
language.
I'm taking both of the Green Bay guys here too. I'm only really clicking Shakir here if I have Allen, but
Okay,
Pearsall seems like a smash here for
so
me.
I I like Pearsall. We'll take him, but I also wanted to discuss David Montgomery falling to 77. I think that's a lot of value too. But I like the Ricky Pearsall pick. I think it fits our build a little bit better at the moment.
Hmm. Yeah, we've got two solid running backs. The David Montgomery's his ceiling has to be capped at this point. Like you're not getting the same thing if Jameer Gibbs goes down. You're not getting Jameer Gibbs out of David Montgomery. I don't think, if that makes sense.
It does. I think that if Gibbs goes down, David Montgomery has like top five upside. Um, just because they don't have anybody else back there, and they use him to catch passes too. It's certainly not as frequent as Jameer Gibbs, as that's really his specialty. But um, David Montgomery will definitely catch some passes for you. So I actually think so. As long as Gibbs is healthy, of course his ceiling is capped. But if he's the only guy back there, then I don't think there really is a ceiling for him. Or I think that the ceiling, I guess I should say, is like I said, a top five running back.
Yeah. I guess I have concerns that like I know I view Jameer Gibbs as like talent or like talented enough to be proof of any concerns like with the offensive line turnover between Frank Ragnow and Kevin Zeitler, I think, getting retiring and moving to Tennessee respectively. Um, I think it's enough cause for concern with and the OC change too in the mix. Um, that I kind of would just rather take one of the uh, more projected starter guys behind Monty.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely understand that perspective too. So we're on the clock here. I was hoping Darnell Mooney might be there. He got taken. We could go Baker Mayfield with our first quarterback here, as we talked about that Week 17 correlation. Um, I don't love this area.
Um, I'm fine with Baker. Little concern about Tristan Wirfs missing the start of the season, potentially. But I like the Bucks offense in general, and I'm still clicking Jalen McMillan late in the draft. I think that it's just a team that you want pieces of because they should be scoring a lot of points on a weekly basis. Yeah, just want to buy in on those types of offenses.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Tristan Wirfs is definitely going to hurt missing the start of the season, but a lot of these contests can be really backweighted as far as like the production really mattering because once you get to the money weeks, that's when it really counts. Now, of course, you need to get there, but I think our plan to go with Justin Herbert, so long as he makes it to his ADP, which I think is where we pick, then I like it. I think we'd have two solid mid-range quarterbacks and wouldn't need to force a third one if we didn't want to.
Yeah, 100%. I'm big on getting any of the top 8 quarterbacks, or I'd probably say top 10 early, just to be comfortable with the possibility of just going with 2.
What do you
Just
want to
kind of
do
keeping that avenue
here?
open.
We
I
can.
like
I like
I
Tracy. I
like
like Shaheed.
I like Shaheed here. I think.
I love Rashid Shaheed.
Also like Keon Coleman in this range, but Shaheed.
I think he's such a great best ball player because he's like a spike week guy. I think I said it the other day when John and I were on, but he in like 3 or 4 of his first 6 weeks he spiked, but then he got hurt. So I just think that he's the quintessential best ball pick because like you avoid the bad weeks and get the good weeks, and that's just perfect, especially as your wide receiver 5.
Yeah, I agree. They added no target competition. Not worried about ancient Brandon Cooks entering the
No,
fold. He's going to be on the field as much as he can handle, really, and yeah, he's probably arguably the second or third option in the offense entirely.
yeah, behind Chris Olave and Alvin Kamara, he probably is absolutely the third option.
Yeah,
Uh,
no question. And you're not getting many guys this late in the draft that you can pinpoint or like say it's no question.
right. Tyrone Tracy went at 110. Caleb Williams just went following after. How do you feel about pairing Najee Harris with Amari and Hampton? Do you
Um,
like doing that sort of thing? Do you like diversifying? We can go Trey Harris to continue our Chargers stack if he's still there in a couple picks. Just spitballing.
um, I don't tend to stack RB rooms just to aim for ceiling. Like if I'm right type of deal.
Right.
Um, and basically making that bet, you're guaranteeing that in one part you might be wrong, um, let alone
So what do
both.
you Okay. So what do you think about the next two in line here are Charbonnet and Ramondre? And we can dip down the board a little bit too if you want to pull up Tajay Spears, Javante Williams. I'm not a big fan of
Yeah,
personally.
you could argue about Charbonnet being similar to Shaheed in that he's a spike week running back, and you'd be just getting the best of him. But he goes.
Well, he's
Don't hate Ramondre as a potentially like goal line back if this New England offense takes a jump.
yeah.
Um,
Well, let's do that then. That's fine with me. I think that's a pretty good pick. It's a shame Charbonnet went just before us because I do like him a little bit better. I just think he has more contingent upside than Stevenson does. So I think our next pick here is very clearly going to be Justin Herbert at 125. And then the board really opens up for us. I think we would have 2 quarterbacks, 5 receivers, 3 running backs, and an elite tight end.
yeah, sounds great. On builds with elite tight ends like McBride or Bowers, that's when I'm looking to dig up some of the deeper sleepers, and I think this might be a great team to get a Rondé Gadsden on in the last round for free. Um, Rookie tight end for the Chargers.
It's
He's
funny
like
you say that. I've picked him when I've had Herbert and Jay McBride in the draft. just because you're right. Like Trey McBride is going to start every week, and if he gets hurt, you're pretty much like that's your third round pick. It's going to be tough sailing anyway. So why not just take an extremely high upside guy? And if he falls flat on his face, who cares? Because Trey McBride's going to have like 10 targets a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, aim for the moon with that backup tight end when you got the elite guy, because then you may stumble into a weekly flex play for 8 weeks, with your backup tight end in that scenario.
Absolutely. This hopefully this person doesn't do anything crazy and we'll get Justin Herbert. Goff went just before that, and then Tajay Spears we mentioned earlier. We'll go ahead and take Justin Herbert here. Get this one done quickly.
Yep, sounds good.
Very nice. So let's just see what we're rolling with here. We've got a 2-3-5-1 so far with Baker Mayfield, Justin Herbert. We've got Saquon Barkley as our anchor, Hampton and Ramondre Stevenson, followed up by McConkey, Waddle, Godwin, Pearsall, and Shahid as our wide receivers. And then, like we were just talking about, Trey McBride, the elite tight end. I like how this team is shaping out, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks balanced. The double elite. I think you could argue that we have 2 elite quarterbacks potentially, depending on how you view Herbert.
I think Herbert had a streak of 5, 6, 7 games at the end of last season where he was like a top 12 guy.
Mm-hmm. And he started the year with that calf injury that held him back, and they were running the ball a ton to start the year. I like Herbert a lot this year.
Najee Harris, I saw, ended up going 120, which is 9 spots past his ADP of 111. So, yeah, I mean, now that an official report's come out, the fall might be on.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely scare people off, especially like right now when no information is coming in. The headlines will be enough to buzz people off, and it's not like you're missing out on much if you're not clicking Najee right versus it being like a premium player at the top of the draft.
Yeah, there's definitely some comparable guys behind Najee Harris or going in that area, like Ramondre. We talked about Charbonnet. Tajay Spears, even, I think, is fine and comparable, really. Probably more upside with Spears than Najee Harris, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do we want to do here? This is another really weird spot.
I don't hate Garendo here. I'm not drafting Tootin a ton.
I like Garendo. That's a lot of contingent upside. But I like that pick. We're going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, it's one of like when you get Saquon, I guess it's the same argument as like drafting an elite tight end and going late, right? You're just swinging for the fences. If you know Saquon is going to be holding down one of your RB spots all season long, then you're just looking for another RB starter with the rest of your picks.
Yeah, we've already got two guys that it might take Omar and Hampton a minute, but I think we've got 2 really good ones. Until he starts the job, I'm pretty confident that him, Stevenson, and possibly even Garendo can rotate in until Hampton gets up to speed. Mm-hmm. We could take a heavy discount on Kyle Williams if he's still there. We could go third quarterback with Tua if the board's pretty ugly. This is an interesting spot. I think things kind of start to dry up a little bit. You want to take the Williams discount and just take the mystery box?
Yeah, I'll take the 20 pick discount. We'll snatch that up. I really liked his tape from college when I was doing the pre-draft rookie stuff. I think it's just a huge cloud kind of surrounding this wide receiver room, and it's hard to bank on right now. But I'm a believer in the talent of Kyle Williams for sure.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think he was a great talent. But I think they're saying he's going to definitely play behind Mario Douglas at first, and maybe even guys like Kendrick Bourne and whatnot. I just don't think that's going to last long. When they picked him in like the 2nd round, I think, right? No, that was when they picked Trayvon Harris.
Yeah, I believe they grabbed him in the 3rd round.
Still, I think that's a pretty steep investment for a team that hasn't really invested in wide receiver before and has a talent like Drake May that is just oozing with potential and I think really ready to break out should the cards go right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. When's our next pick? We're up at 64. Oh boy. Let's see here. We could go with Jalen Wright just to add another Dolphin to the Week 17 matchup with the Buccaneers. My favorite late round pick has got to be Rico Dowdle, and I'm happy to pull him up here.
Yeah, I like both of these guys. I like Chuba Hubbard a lot too, but I think Rico Dowdle is kind of just a true handcuff case. Like I drafted Dowdle a ton in like the biggest board or the little
Bigger
board
board.
stuff. Um, uh, but kind of steamed off him a bit, which is funny because his price has dropped since then. But yeah, I think they're going to run the ball a lot, and they want to run the ball. I'll drop a stat for you after this pick.
You want to go with Dowdle or you want to go with Wright?
Um,
Or do you want to go with the receiver? I mean, we've got 10 seconds. So
well,
what do you?
let's go with Wright here. Having 3 Week 14 running backs because I think I personally want to be done at running back here.
Okay.
When you got Saquon.
Nice little 5 running backs.
And I think it's because if you're, at least the way I treat running backs, if you got Saquon holding down that spot, then you just need one guy all year to get the second spot, and Hampton should be holding that down.
At
But
a certain point.
circling back, Chuba Hubbard was like tied for 4th among RBs with carries inside the 5 last year. So he is like, I'm doing an article covering dark horse touchdown leaders this year, or rushing touchdown leaders.
I love that.
And I think Chuba Hubbard's going to end up headlining the list. But it's, if you want to make that bet, then I love Dowdle just as much as a contingency bet on that offense.
Dowdle just went. So I've got a couple guys queued up here. Pierce, Wilson, Kate Otten for the correlation with Baker, Diami Brown. Those would be my choices here. What are you thinking?
I like Pierce here. Another best ball.
Oh yeah, he was a guy I wrote about him. Yeah, I wrote about him in my Flyers article. Not that he qualified ADP wise, but he was the guy. He was the guy last year that inspired me to kind of start thinking about those late round guys because he ended up with like seven weeks of 20 or more points, led the league in I think yards per reception.
Yeah.
After really doing nothing for 2 years, so I really like that pick. I've got a decent amount of Alec Pierce already, and happy to just keep adding on.
Yeah, I think it opens the door for like a backdoor Daniel Jones stack if you don't like how the board's shaking out and you want to grab a third quarterback too. And Anthony Richardson too. I kind of mix them both in, but I favor Jones there.
I've been going heavy Jones. I don't think I've clicked Anthony Richardson more than once or twice. It might change that now that Anthony Richardson is essentially free as well. It was really more of a price thing.
Yeah,
me.
that's I think where I my interest came from too is when he's going undrafted now. He's easier to click in the last round.
I agree. Kate Otten and Diami Brown are still on the board. That'd be nice to be able to get one of them. Do you want to wait until the last round and go with Gadsden?
I like Otten here as like an intermediate, more of a safer bet, and you get a stack there too with the quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, if it's still between those two guys for me, the next guy on my list is probably Keenan Allen, to be honest.
Yeah, I like Dante Thornton a lot too. He just has stuff that you can't, or he has the size and speed that you can't teach.
You want to go Thornton, Otten? I like Otten here. I don't have a ton of him.
Yeah, I'm down. A good touch, big target, touchdown spike week if he's in your lineup.
Yep.
5-6 times a year.
Yeah, I think that's good, and he has a different buyer than Trey McBride, so I think that's If you're only going with 2, I think that's important, but I'm not too much of a bye week bro.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we might be able to get Dante Thornton here. Continue to talk him up.
Yeah, word came out that he was working with the starters already. He
There
I
it
think
is.
he's got the versatility to play anywhere out wide or in the slot. Uh, Jacoby Myers is like really good, probably underrated in the scope of the NFL wide receivers. But as far as like a breakaway home run hitter, the Raiders are still kind of looking for that.
Let's do it. Let me diversify. I've ended up with like over 20% Keenan Allen as he goes right after us at 198. And it's just going to keep climbing because of my slow drafts that are coming to a close. And I'm a little concerned about how much Keenan Allen I have, seeing as he isn't on a team.
Yeah, injuries are still bound to happen too. And he's one of those guys who probably will just plug in and play and won't need the training reps. Um, if and or when he does sign, because it sounds like he might end up his only options were preferring to go to familiar territory, but of course that might change if he's not getting those offers.
What are you thinking here for our last pick? We've got 2 5 8 2. I think we've got 2 good quarterbacks, 2 really good tight ends, one of them being elite. You wanted to stop at running back here. You wanted to tack on a 9th wide receiver. What did you want to do?
I like Mitchell here. I think if
I like. And we can go any number of ways here. I'm just clicking some of my favorite guys here.
yeah, I like Mitchell and Brooks, both of them actually as great last round potentially backup running backs and good offenses too. Um, Great picks. They're definitely going to add more to this lineup. We have the elite tight end, 2 great quarterbacks. Running back definitely makes more sense here.
Yeah, and I don't know that I love going more than 8 wide receivers just because it feels like at a certain point, like you only start 4 of them. Like
I tend to stick to 8 too. I typically favor 3-5-8-2 or 2-5-8-3.
yeah, like I could see if like we had Baker Mayfield or Bo Nix instead of Baker Mayfield, and we wanted to go Troy Franklin. Like I get that, but I just don't know that it makes sense here.
Hmm.
So Keaton Mitchell or Taj Brooks, I love them both.
Yeah, I'm down for Brooks. You get that correlation with Trey McBride too.
Very nice. What correlation with Trey McBride? Oh, they play week 17.
Hmm.
That's right. It is the Bengals and the Cardinals. Okay, well, we
Yeah.
finished that. That's nice. Once the board finishes, we'll kind of go and look at our team and highlight what we like, what we didn't like, maybe where we could have pivoted if we had some hindsight. This last person has 10 seconds left. We ended up going 2 6 8 2. I love the Taj Brooks pick at the end, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised that him and Keaton Mitchell go undrafted at all. To be honest,
Yeah. Like you could argue that they should be going with like the Tyler Algiers of the Rico Dowdles right in that boat. Just especially given like how good the offenses are.
yeah, I definitely agree. So let's see here. What did we end up with? Let's see. Check out the board. So we ended up going Saquon in the first round at 5, which I think was phenomenal. What's your favorite value from the first? We'll call it 2 rounds, whether it's our team or not.
Um,
I like Jonathan Taylor at 22. I think Jonathan Taylor should be
mhm.
going um, ahead of Bucky Irving. I don't think Buck. I think Bucky Irving should actually probably be going after the 2-3 turn. I think you should really be going between Jacobs and Chase Brown.
Yeah, I have probably Jacobs slightly ahead of Irving. And then Taylor, I'd probably even slide up closer to the Derrick Henry, Devon Achane side of the board. You might have said the same thing. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. So let's see. Are you a bye week, bro? Like, do you pay attention too much to that? I know you mentioned it a little bit with the week 14, and that's why we went Jalen Wright instead of Rico Dowdle there in, I think, the 15th round. How do you play that normally?
Um, I just tend to avoid like a ton of like if I have 5 running backs and 4 of them are, I just don't want any zeros pretty much. Like if I have 2 tight ends, I'm trying to avoid getting the same bye week. Um, Especially quarterback, maybe less so tight ends if you want to um, argue against the positional value. But yeah, just trying to avoid taking zeros on weeks.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as far as the onesie positions. Like if I'm only drafting, if I'm only planning to draft 2 quarterbacks or 2 tight ends, they can't have the same bye week. But as far as like running backs and receivers, it doesn't. I don't really don't. I'd rather just take good players,
Yeah.
and one week isn't going to kill your season. I do think it's a little tough when it's week 14, and because theoretically all the weeks count the same, but it's tough when it's that final week and you need to make that final push to get into the playoffs. So
Mhm.
I think probably avoiding the third week 14 running back there was probably a good idea.
Yeah, I'm not firm. Not don't have a firm stance in that argument, I guess. But yeah, I agree. Not trying to let that get in the way of value is
Right.
important too.
All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap up here, Nathan?
No, not much. Keep your eyes out for the um, Dark Horse rushing touchdown leaders article. I'll be having that out shortly. Um, and on to the next after that.
Sneak peek, Rico or not Rico Daddle. Chuba Hubbard is going to be somewhere on that list. Just a sneak peek
He'll be
there.
somewhere.
Well, thanks everybody for tuning into the Fantasy NFL Today show. My name is Anthony Quaranta. Follow me at AQ Fresh. Nathan can be followed at NateH714. Follow us at Ethos Fantasy NFL. Did I get that right, Nathan? Uh,
Um, e- yeah, Ethos Fantasy
Ethos.
NFL, I believe.
Perfect. Follow us there. Check out our draft guide. You can go to sportsethos.com to look at that. All the work that Nathan does, I do, and the rest of our contributors. Until next time, thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you again.